Holly was like, with the blurred background, you look like you're AI. So
Yeah,
I was like, well,
this is Thomas Rhett AI going on.
Oh yeah,
They're figuring it out. There we go.
awesome.
Okay.
Or wait, how'd you do that?
Little settings.
What do you do?
Oh yeah, let me play around with this for a second. Let's go to space. There we are.
Ooh.
I'm just kidding. We don't have to do that. Here we go.
Well, aliens are real now.
like that.
They
It's
are
fine.
real.
A space is
I do
in.
believe that.
Aliens are real.
would you would you go to space given the opportunity? You know, there's so many private organizations blasting off now. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd probably do it.
Would your
Yeah.
wife let you?
I mean, I would want to go with like my entire family so that
Okay.
if we died, we would all die.
Die together, like The
We'd die
Notebook.
together.
When they
Yeah.
died together, it's like my
That's
favorite
right.
movie. Is it's like a bittersweet ending where I'm like, but they died together. It's so cute.
Correct. One of the best movies of all time, potentially.
We don't want to waste any time congratulating you on the number ones. Like, does it feel
20.
Does it feel like it's that many?
In some ways it does, and in some ways it does not. It's
surreal.
yeah, it's pretty surreal.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like it. What I want to go back to the very first number one in 2013. Let's go back. Let's history rewind itself. Take us back to that first time. Do you remember hearing it for the first time on the radio? Do you remember that first number one party? What was that like? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I remember hearing it for the first time. I remember it going number one more than I remember the rest of it, because I just remember thinking, you know, our first two singles got to the top 20 and then died. And so I remember when It Goes Like This made it to 20, I was like, here we go. It's going to die. It's going to die, you know? And then it made it past 15 and I was like, wow, that's the highest we've been. And then I'm going, okay, top 10. And then it made it top 10 and then top 5. And you're like, wow, like this is reality. This could happen, you know? And then it goes number one and you kind of go, that's insane. I want to do that again. That's, you know what I mean? It's like this immediate addictive feeling of like, I love this feeling. Can we please make that happen once every 6 months? You know?
Toby Keith said being in the winner's circle at like a horse racetrack, there's nothing like it. Is it kind of, would you attribute it to like you're in the winner's circle at like in a horse
sports
race kind of?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I mean, I think a number one song, just, it's not only helpful for you, but it's helpful to the songwriters. And it's another kind of chink in the box of just like when you get up to sing your live show, it's like another song that you can guarantee that everybody in that crowd knows. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so to have 20 of them is just is mind blowing to me. I don't even know how we got here. Really, but the last 2 years are kind of blurry.
I do like the fact that you started posting songs that weren't singles, though. I think recently you did one from the first album, and it was like a song that you wish would have been a single.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a ton of those, right? Is that an ongoing series that we're doing with that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, off every record, there was probably always a couple more that probably could have been singles if you put them out and been hits, maybe. It's just like, at what point do you move on from an album and go to another project? You know, some songs just unfortunately get left in the dust, and it all comes down to priority of what you think the next best thing for you is. But there's always a couple on every record that fall short and don't get their chance to see their glory. So
it seems like you get pushed quicker and quicker to put out new stuff. At least in country music, for sure. Like you come out with an album and then 6 months later, you're like, we're putting out another one. It's like, wow, that was fast.
Yeah.
So that's got to be a lot of pressure.
I'm doing the anti of that.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, well, when you have 20 number ones, you can start to do your own thing, right?
Yeah, it's just been like it's been a 10-year rat race. You know what I mean? It's finish a record, make a new one. Finish a record, make a new one. Finish a tour, go back on tour. Finish a tour, go back on tour. And like after this tour's over, it's going to be, I'm taking a real break, and not releasing any new music until like next year. So I just want to take a real, just like at least a couple months of like a breath and then come back. You know what I mean? Because it's always been so just this. And so I don't know. I call it like my 10-year 3-month break. So
it's time to savor all of that. And I just want to, speaking of rapid fire, I want to ask a couple quick questions. What is your most meaningful number one to you that you have?
Probably the first one. Probably it goes
First?
like this. Yeah, just because I think without that one, might not have been any of these other ones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What is your wife's favorite?
I don't know. I mean, Die Happy Man holds a really special place in both of our hearts, but
Yeah.
I think she loves Crash and Burn. So do I. That's one of my favorites. So
What one is the one that's the most surprising that you're like, oh, this one, no one will probably like it, but they do, like the one that surprised you?
Life Changes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's surprising to me.
It just felt super like not country radio friendly. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It was produced kind of wacky, very, very detailed, very, very personal. I mean, it said the word Uganda in it. Like none of it really added up to be like this is radio mad. It was like the, whatever,
I get it.
sheep. So
That's
You
interesting.
mentioned you mentioned the first couple didn't go as far as you thought they would. Was something to do with My Hands one of those?
yeah, that was
Was that
the first song I ever released as an artist.
so I remember I first started working at WYCD in Detroit, first major market station. And I remember when that song came out and I loved it. I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but I love this song. And I would crank it up when I started my first night show there. And it was one of my favorites. So I'm like, I was surprised to see that not go a little further.
Yeah, my first two singles, man, died at 15 on the chart, and I thought that was what my career was going to be, was just a bunch of songs that died at 15. Because when you have two in a row that do the same thing, I was just like, maybe this is God. You know what I mean? Maybe there's a significance in the number 15 that I need to like go deeper on, and then Goes Like This came out and kind of broke that little curse that we had going for us. But I just think it was weird for new artists at the time. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of hoops that you had to jump through to really get good airplay as a new artist in 2012, when today, literally you could post a 30-second like TikTok clip and the whole world knows who you are tomorrow. It's like a whole different landscape. You know what I mean?
You're like I was a new artist when there wasn't the internet practically. This is pretty much.
Pretty much.
I mean,
pretty much, yeah.
I'm sure you're kind of talking about the whole Oliver Anthony thing a little bit. And I kind of feel for that guy, because he's like, I didn't really want all of this, but now the whole world knows who he is. What advice would you give someone like that who's like instantly famous overnight, and now there's all this pressure to continue to put out hits?
I don't have advice for that, dude. It's kind of
scary. It's
a scary position to be in, because I think when you blow up overnight, you weren't, first of all, you weren't prepared for it. You didn't expect it. And now you sit there and you go, do I have any more songs that are that good as good as that one? You know what I'm saying? And if you don't, then you're just, it's like, it can be that fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I just look at careers like in our genre. Like I look at Dierks Bentley as like the most envious career path of anybody in our genre. You know what I mean?
So? Well, how come?
Just because it's just been slowly this the whole way. You know what I mean? And there was never this.
Yeah.
It was just right here. You know what I mean? And I feel like that just doesn't happen anymore. I feel like you're either famous immediately or you're just not. I don't feel like the whole building thing happens anymore. And I just feel like Dierks was like the model child of what an awesome 30-year country music career looks like, personally.
Do you think we're, as country fans, we're missing out on that of having those artists that kind of gradually go up? Are we missing out a little bit?
I don't know. I just think I kind of relate like what's happening right now to like an ice cream shop. It's like every week the ice cream shop says, hey, we got vanilla, but this week it's got blueberries in it, and the whole world, oh my gosh. And then the next week they ditch the blueberries and now it's like hazelnut chips. And you're like, oh my gosh. I just think it's like, I think it's becoming very few and far between these days for an artist to stick around.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't say that as a judgy way. It's just kind of the truth. So
one of the things that we do on our show is behind the song, and we always ask 3 questions. Where were you? What were you thinking? What were you drinking? And we don't have the story behind your song, Look What God Gave Her. Can you go back to that and tell us about that?
Man, yeah.
Go way back.
I was on tour with Kenny Chesney,
Okay.
and we were playing in where were we? Can't remember what town we were in, but there was a bad rain delay. I remember we had to like pause for like an hour before we went on stage, and my producer Julian brought this song into the vibe room where we were, and he started playing this demo of Look What God Gave Her, and it was another guy singing the demo, and we stood around and we listened to that demo for like 30 minutes, just like on repeat, and went out and played the show, and then like came back into the dressing room and like recorded my vocal on the song, and rewrote the bridge and kind of tampered around with the second verse a little bit, and then that became like the first single off that project, which is pretty wild. So
that's an amazing story. Like, thank God for that rain.
Right.
Thank
God for the rain. Yeah.
Sure. That's another song title right there. Add it to the list.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Do you have goals as far as, do you ever have a goal of how many, albums or how many number ones once they kind of started happening? Are you looking at artists like George Strait who have a million of them, or is it just like whatever, obviously you're grateful for one and you're grateful for 20?
For sure. I mean, I think the thought of like trying to achieve 40 more of these, like I'll be like 80, you know what I mean? That's okay. I don't foresee me being one of those artists that's still doing it this hard at 65. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like 20 is a good number. You know what I mean? Like
You're feeling good.
I think so.
I mean, I hope I have more, but if I never did, I would be really, really grateful and really, really happy with the way my career panned out. You know what I mean?
I think that's the kind of the question is like, when do you feel successful? Because we always Rob and I always have that conversation. Like when we see people go back on tour and we're like, don't they just want to sit on their money and just like roll around in it? Or,
right.
like what is that? So like, that's
I think what it is, and I'm not George Strait. I can't be in these people's minds as to what makes them cowboy rides away, and then but the cowboy comes back and the cowboy ride. I get it. It's the stage is a very addicting place to be. You know what I mean? It's
No, we don't know what
well,
you mean, Tom.
It's like
we've never.
It's like that little tiny dopamine hit that you get when Instagram opens up on your phone. It's like that times like 50. Walking onto a stage and people go, "You're the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life." You know what I mean? It's like it's honestly, it's maybe not healthy. I think if it's maybe gets you, like that's where you find your affirmation. But I would imagine it's very addicting. Like, one day when you kind of quit doing it and you're like, it's been like 2 years since someone screamed my name. Maybe I should get back out there and experience that again. You know what I mean?
Okay, now, yes, that explains it.
But I don't know. I mean, I think that would be it for me, because even when I come home for 3 days, it's like you go from 3 days of affirmation to 3 days of like the most opposite form of affirmation period, which are children. And then you go back on the road and get it again. And then it's a strange shift of a life every week. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I do understand what you're saying, because right now I'm talking to Thomas Rhett, and then later on my kid's going to ask me to wipe his butt, and I feel like he's too old for that. Like there's that. I totally, I definitely understand that. Yep.
Well, I think a lot of it just comes from your original love of music, right? But or do you feel like it is such a job now that it's not, like, does the passion part of it go away a little bit and it's just more work now at this point?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, like, you go in these like passion slumps. You know what I mean? Like there's some nights when you walk on stage and you really do feel like an actor in a way. You know what I mean? Like because you could walk on stage and just have had a terrible fight with your wife, or a not a good conversation about somebody's health, and then all of a sudden 5 minutes later you got to be like, "What's up?" You know what I mean? Yeah. You never know what state an artist is in when you're watching them perform, and so some nights it genuinely could be, hey, I'm going to flip that switch and I'm going to be an entertainer for the next 90 minutes. And then I'm going to go be really sad, like off the
Yeah.
stage. You know what I mean?
No, and we can relate to that a ton because
Oh yeah, you know.
on the radio, we're like, well, all we're trying to do is have fun and entertain, and we might have
Right.
had, like you said, those same conversations, and then we're like, hey, everybody, we're the Rabbit Alley Show.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God. Let
Yeah.
me tell you, so many I broke up with a boyfriend on the radio once, and I was like bawling my eyes out.
On the radio?
So like off the air on the phone, and I'm crying to my friend, like, oh, he broke up with me. And I'm like, hold on, I gotta talk. And then hang up the phone and then be like, here's the song. It's the greatest day. I hope everyone's having a magical day. And then get back and like bawl your eyes out. Yeah, that's entertainment. Da 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 da.
But yeah, I mean, I think when you go back to the passion thing, it's like there's never. I might have had nights where I feel like I'm maybe turning on autopilot a little bit, but
yeah.
I've never not been nervous before a show.
Really?
Which makes me know that there's care and there's passion in there, even if I feel off. And so like my band has always looked at me and said, hey, we're going to quit if you ever get unnervous before a show.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of my gauge. It's like, if I'm not nervous, it means that I don't really care what's about to happen up there. You know what I mean?
Wow. You never have stage fright or anything like that? Like even the first time that you were on this,
No, he's saying you do.
Oh, you do have stage. Okay, you do.
Every single night is like the Opry for the first time. Every night is an extreme amount of nervous anxiousness.
Okay.
Every single night.
I think that's good to hear for a lot of people, because a lot of people, like when you're watching it, or if you aspire to do something like that, you think, man, these guys are so perfect and they're so good, and you never feel like you see anything go wrong, and it's very intimidating. So to hear that, it's like, okay, you know, you're feeling what the rest of us feel anytime.
Yeah,
we do
well, that's the
like
thing
that
though.
too.
Is like, but we are good. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
if you were to play golf with like Tiger Woods and he was like, oh, I had a bad round, you'd be like, what are you talking about?
Right.
That was
That's
amazing.
the best round of golf I've ever witnessed with my own two eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for you guys to say like, oh, we had a bad morning on the air, people are like, what are you talking about? It was awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, that's what makes you a professional at what you do. You know, it's like you learn how to be awesome even when this is not 100%, you know?
Right.
20 number ones and he still gets nervous. That does feel like it makes me feel more normal. Like, like, you know, thank you. I'm like, okay, all right.
Oh man.
That's good.
Yeah,
it
but
always
it's like,
feels so good talking to you, by the way.
Likewise, yeah. Likewise.
Well, congratulations. There's 21 songs on the album though. So is Angels not to number one?
I wasn't trying to jinx it, Rob.
But it's
out of there.
It's going that way.
I don't know if he's superstitious or not. Some people are. Are you superstitious?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
This is always that moment where I go, anything could happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the song's like top 5. It's like, could it die at 2? Yes. You know what I'm saying? So those are those conversations you have internally with yourself, but it is what it is.
I don't see that happening, but I'm knocking on wood because I am superstitious as well. So there's wood. There's so much wood around me. Get all the knocking on wood.
That's what she said.
I think it'll be a fight.
Sorry. Sorry. Well, thanks for hanging with us for a little bit, Thomas. We appreciate it.
Y'all have a good one. Thank you.
All right, you too. Take care.
Bye.